Good morning, everyone. Now we are starting with the topic which we have left in previous recording slide, that is classification of cybercrime. So we are starting with the same. We have discussed these things, classification of cyber criminals, like crime against individual, then organization, and also we have discussed cyber crimes at a large scale, and we have also discussed how what are the types of crime which are against the individuals: cyberbullying, stalking, cyber defamation, phishing, cyber fraud, theft, and spyware. Then we have also discussed about all these in detail: cyberbullying, then cyber stalking, defamation, and phishing. Then we have also discussed what is cyber fraud, theft, and spyware. So we have also discussed about the cyber crimes against organization, how the crime is attempted against the organization. So it is attempted by some viruses, also an attack which is called salami attack. Then we have discussed about webjacking. Now denial of service attack. What is DOS attack? Denial of service attack, or DOS, we can say it's a cyber attack on computer device or system which is preventing the legal users or accessor of the system from accessing them. Means the system is made inaccessible to the user which is legal. So the attackers generally attack the system in such a manner by tracking the target system until they crashes that system. So DOS costs millions of dollars to the corporate fund, as it curbs them from their own systems and carrying out their own activities through the attack, and it may be used to incorporate the systems. So when the DOS attack is launched, so in India, so we have punishable, like the criminal who attempts this attack under section 65 of IT Act, which deals with the cyber terrorism. The attacker needs to pay for the attack or for the damages which are occurred in the system. Then data diddling, it's a crime which involves the unauthorized alteration of data and entries on a computer, and it may be done either before or during the entry of such data. So it is generally committed by some computer virus attack. So data is changed from its original data, and there can be some modifications made, and the data can be retrieved. Means the required information which the attacker needs, they can be retrieve that information easily. So in India, data diddling is an offense under section 65 IT Act, and this said, you can clearly see section 65 of IT Act, what they said, that knowingly or intentionally, if someone is destroying or altering or causing another types of crimes or another type of encoding or another type of we can say alteration in your system, in a computer, so the person is punishable with imprisonment of up to 3 years and with a fine of up to 2 lakh. So they need to pay a fine of up to 2 lakh and the imprisonment of up to 3 years. Now cyber crimes against society as a large. How crime is attempted against society at large? So it is cyber pornography, cyber terrorism, and cyber espionage. Now, what is cyber pornography? So as per Merriam-Webster dictionary, pornography is the depiction of erotic behavior, as in pictures or writing. So intent to cause sexual excitement. According to these, it refers to internet to display these acts. So under this IT Act section 67, it states that following activities are punishable of imprisonment up to 3 years and fine of up to 5 lakh. So transmitting some mails and some messaging, this is illegal and they are punishable, and one needs to pay a fine of up to 5 lakh. Now cyber terrorism. See, cyber terrorism means using cyberspace to hurt the general public and damage the integrity and sovereignty of any country. So the IT Act defines cyber terrorism under section 66F as any acts done by a person, and the intent is to create a threat to unity, integrity, sovereignty and security of the nation, or create terror in minds of people or sections of people by disrupting the authorized access to a computer source or getting access to a computer through source, which means unauthorized access, and causing some types of damage to the computer network. So you can clearly see unity, integrity, sovereignty and security. These are the basic attempts which are, this is the basic, we can say basic attempts which are created or which are attempted for cyber terrorism. They need to destroy the nation's unity, integrity, sovereignty and security. So cyber terrorism is generally carried out in following ways. How? Hacking government-owned system of the target country and getting confidential information. So they will get the confidential information and then hack the government, the organization or the system which are owned by the government. Then destructing and destroying government databases and backups by incorporating some malwares and softwares into the system. How they will attempt this? They will destroy or they will destruct the government databases which are owned by government and some backups by incorporating some viruses, some malwares in those systems. And also they can disrupt government network of target nation, and also they are distracting the government authorizations and also the teams or the organization or the administration team from focusing on the matters of priority. So they'll distract them so that they can't focus on the main work and they involve in other works, and they can clearly attempt or they can clearly get those data, the intention from which they are attempting the cyber terrorism attack. So the punishment for cyber terrorism is, which is again under section 66F of IT Act, is imprisonment of up to 3 years and fine of up to 3 lakhs. So someone if is trying to attempt or someone has done cyber terrorism, like someone has hurt the general public and also damaged the country's integrity and unity, so he or she or any criminal is imprisonment under section 66F. They need to go for imprisonment of up to 3 years and they need to pay a fine of rupees 2 lakh. Now cyber espionage. So according to Merriam-Webster dictionary, espionage is the practice of spying or using spies to obtain information about the plans and activities, especially of a foreign government or a computing company. So this is basically they need or they are obtaining the information about the plans and the activities which of a we can say of foreign government, and they also require the information of computing companies. So similarly, cyber espionage refers to the unauthorized access of sensitive data or intellectual property for economical and political reasons. So it is called cyber spying. We can say, you can clearly see it is also called cyber spying. Then generally the following data are gathered through cyber espionage. What type of data they are getting it? They will get military data and some academic research related data, intellectual property data and political strategic based data. What are the political strategies which are going on, and they are all pre-planned and post-planned events. So they'll get those data and intellectual properties rights, whatever they are stored in the system, and also some military data. So they require those data and some academic research related data which is already stored in the system. So they'll use all these for their. Now very important and last topic of unit 1 is botnet. We need to understand what is botnet. We can say a botnet is a network of comprised computers, and it's, or we can say the form of computers which are comprised is called botnets. So comprised computers are called zombies or bots. So we can also call them zombies or boots. So this software is mostly written in C++ and C. We have this software in C++ and C. So the main motive of Botnet is that it starts with that dark side of internet which introduce a new kind of crime which is called cybercrime. Obviously, when someone is, we have started with unit 1, then we talk about cybercrime. So cybercrime is, they are using computer as a tool for committing the crime. So network of comprised computers is called botnet. So comprised computers are also called zombies or bots. So this software is written in C and C++, and the main work and the main motive of this botnet is to start at the backside of internet and which introduce a new crime which is called cybercrime. Like all the crime is committed on the computers. They are using computer as a tool for committing crime. So here we have cyber crimes. Now, among the malwares, we can say malwares are also malicious software. So botnet is the most widespread and server threat. So botnet, we can say it is mostly the widespread and server threat. So several large institutions, government organizations, and almost every social networking site, just we can say the websites. What are the social networking websites or sites which we are using nowadays, like Facebook, Twitter, nowadays it's X, now Instagram, and some e-commerce websites such as Amazon and Flipkart. And in short, every firm associated with the internet become the victim of this malware. And it is clearly mentioned that this is the widespread and server threat. So once it is spread, it will destroy all the websites, all the social media sites, and also the e-commerce websites which we are using. We are all aware that we are using some social networking sites like Facebook, FB, Twitter, and Instagram. And also the e-commerce website which we are using are Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra, many more, Ajay, and many more we are using. So we can say that once the malware gets associated with these sites, these websites or these social networking sites, then the whole data can be destroyed, and the system, these botnets will extract or will get all the data of persons, all the data of the particular organization. So this kind of malicious software is freely available in the market for lease. It can be used in, and also see, it can be used in DDoS attack, which is distributed denial of service attack, then smurf attack, phishing, and also extortion, etc. So this can be used here also. Now, what is botnet? See, before moving forward, we need to understand this diagram. Botnet, see, this is the botnet operator, this is malware, and these are the infected computers. So how the planning takes place, how the complete process takes place. First, this is the botnet operator. Like operator, we can understand the main functioning or the main initiation of botnet starts from here. Then these are the malwares. These are the some types of malwares which are installed in the system. So once they are spreaded, so they infected numbers of computers. So these are the infected computers. Once the botnet operator plans, and then these malwares are spread through multiple computers. Now botnet communication, how they take place. So there are following things that can be performed on bots. Studied that botnets are also called bots or zombies. So these are the major things that can be performed on bots. First one is web injection. How? Bootmaster can inject snippets of code to any secure website which boot used to visit. So web injection is that masters, we have, see, masters are present in the bootnet operator. Here in bootnet operator, the whole process is taken by the masters. So when we are talking about web injection, the boot master can inject snippets of code to any secure website which boot used to visit. So they can snippet that code which needs to be visited by the boot. Then web filters. Here on a special symbol like @ or bypassing as a special domain for screenshot use. So there are some web filters, some apostrophe marks, some @ and some exclamation marks, some symbols, some special symbols are used and for the screenshots which they needs to put on the filters. Then web fakes. Redirection of web page can be done here. When we are talking about web fakes, means redirection, they will create a page, they will create a website or a link which will redirect you to a fake link or to the fake page. Like the page will seems like it's the original page or the original website. Once you click on that link, you will redirect it to that web fake link or that web page which is fake. So the attacker will get all the information, all the personal information from your page, like your personal ID, your name, your contacts, XYZ, any information which you are mentioning on that particular page. So it's very important, or we need to be very careful while clicking on any link. So how it is, the process whole plan. The boot operator, we can say the boot master is the main planner of that whole system. Then some malwares will be infected, some malwares will be sent, some malwares will be installed on the system. So whole system will be infected. Then DNS map, it will assign IP to any domain which masters wants to run to the boot family. So this is DNS map. It is like assigning any IP to any domain which the master wants. Means this is mapping or putting or getting the IP address of a particular, we can say, particular router. So the router is that router which the boot master wants to visit or wants to attain. So these are the types that boots. So these are the major things and which are used by boots to perform the bootness communication. Like they will, first is web injection, means boot master will inject some codes or to any secure website. Then some web filters, like they will bypass some special domains for taking the screenshots. And some web fakes, like the pages will show, at first the page will show you that this is the original page and they will redirect to you to the fake fake link or fake page. Then DNS map, for getting the IP address of that particular family for which the boot master wants to attend or wants to gain the information. Now types of bootnet. There are 3 types of bootnet. Internet relay chat, which is IRC bootnet, then peer-to-peer P2P bootnet, and hypertext transfer protocol, which is HTTP protocol. Now what is IRC? We'll discuss about all these types of bootnets in detail. Now what is internet relay chat IRC? It acts as the CNC channel. Both received commands from centralized IRC server. So a command is in the normal chat message. So the limitation of relay chat is, we can say internet relay chat IRC bootnet is that the entire bootnet can be collapsed by simply shutting down the server or IRC server. So IRC is basically, it will act as the communication channel where boots receives some commands from the IRC server, which is the centralized, means whole operations is performed and the system is centralized. All the things are stored in the one system and are particularly managed in one frame. Then a command is in the form of normal chat message. So the limitations of IRC or internet relay chat is that when the entire bootnet is collapsed, so the system can be simply shut down and we can get the IRC server. Now peer-to-peer, P2P bootnet, it is performed by using P2P, peer-to-peer protocols. So peer-to-peer bootnet is performed by using the P2P protocols and a decentralized network of nodes. So very difficult to shut down due to the decentralized structure. See, when we are talking about IRC, internet relay chat server, so the system is centralized. So we can clearly shut down that system and we can get the data. But here, as peer-to-peer, P2P bootnet is performed by using P2P protocols and it has a decentralized network of nodes, so it is very difficult to shut down due to the decentralized structure, and each P2P boot can act both as a client and a server. So when we are talking about peer-to-peer, so each protocol which we are using here or each P2P bot which we are using here, they can both act as a client and a server. So the boots frequently communicate with each other and sends keep alive messages. So what they will do, the boots frequently communicate with each other and they'll send some messages like keep alive. So the limitation of peer-to-peer bootnet is that it has a higher latency for data transmission. See, although it is good, peer-to-peer bootnet is good, but due to its limitation, what is its limitation? It has a higher latency for the transmission of data. So here comes the limitations of P2P bootnet. Now, not but last, hypertext transfer protocol, HTTP bootnet. What is it? It's a centralized structure and it will use here HTTP protocols to hide their activities. So boots use some specific URLs or IP address to connect to the servers and they will at regular intervals. So unlike IRC boot, HTTP boots will periodically visit the CNC servers to update or to some new commands. So here hypertext transfer protocol is used to hide the activities which they are using, as the system is centralized and the structure is centralized. So boots use some specific URLs and IP address for connecting to servers. Then at regular interval, they will visit the communication servers or the client servers to get the updates and commands, and they'll give some new commands to get the information. So the whole planning is completely taking place to get the information. So this is how the types of bootnets or these types of bootnets are used for performing the bootnets operations. Now, how does it work? Basically, we have understood what is bootnet, types of bootnet, how it is basically work, how the whole process takes place. So let's go through it. It can be defined as either you are writing a code to build a software or you are using it from available leaked bootnet. We can call it as GUS bootnet, but is the kind of all bootnet. Then you can see Mirai bootnet, Flashlight, etc. So then finding the vulnerability system where you can install this software through some means like social engineering, example phishing. Soon that system becomes a part of boot army. So those who control it are called the boot masters, which communicates its boot army using some compromised and controlled channel. We can see the person which is planning, which is executing the whole process is the boot master. It is the boot master. So boot master is the one who will communicate with its boot army using some commands, using some special symbols, so that they will get the information. So they are like, the boot master will get to the person, they will get some links, they will plan the event, plan the whole movement, we can say process. Boot master will, the person who is operating the whole system, which is sitting, and then there are some infected systems or some malware, some software. So they'll contact those in the areas where they're situated, and they'll infect the systems which they are targeting. Once the malware or the software installed on that particular system, they'll get to know that data. So boot master will communicate its boot army, and then using, and how they are communicating with the boot army, they are using a command and control channel. We have discussed that bootnet process is taking place by using some things like some commands, some special symbols, and some types of web injection, and many more. So this is how the boot master will plan the whole process. It will communicate with the boot army by using some command and control channel. Now, how bootnet works? See, this is how bootnet works. See, first, this is the infection, then connection, then multiplication and control. First, this is the infection machine, boot zombie is installed here, and cyber criminal, this is the boot master. Then connection, some connections are made by using command and control servers, and then control, the whole systems are controlled. This is the bootnet. Then once the control is being granted, then the things are being divided. How? Malware distribution means, first, how the system is being divided. They will send some spam emails, then some infected websites, then some social media posts. So in all three things, the division can takes place. Then malware distribution, here the distribution takes place, and they will infect the whole machine and the system by using the boot zombie. So types of bootnet attack, we will discuss this topic in the next lecture. We are only left with types of bootnet attacks. Thank you.